Welcome to the True to Success podcast, a space created to help you slow down, reset your mind, and realign your life from the inside out. This podcast is about real growth, not pressure, not perfection, but clarity, responsibility, and personal power. Here we talk about identity and purpose, letting go of what you can't control, building emotional awareness, strength through humility, and learning how to move forward without losing yourself. True to Success is coaching, not preaching. Conversation, not performance. Each episode is designed to help you breathe, reflect, and take ownership of your next step, one honest moment at a time. This podcast is led by Dave Shelton, motivational speaker, life coach, and founder of True to My Soul Enterprises. Dave's work focuses on emotional regulation, personal responsibility, inner alignment, and helping people build lives that feel grounded, intentional, and true to who they are. To learn more, explore additional reflections, and continue the work beyond the podcast, visit www.truetomysoul.com. That's TRU2MYSOUL.com. That's truetomysoul.com. Now settle in, take a breath, and welcome to the True to Success podcast with Dave Shelton.
Yo, what's good, family? It's Dave Shelton here today with the True to Success podcast. And I want you to know I'm very grateful for you to be here today. I'm here to help you get your mind right and your soul inspired. This is your time, your place, and your space to breathe, reset, and step into your power. Now, listen, we're going to continue this particular podcast from last week. We started talking about letting go in some very healthy ways. Not to say you haven't done it healthy, but I want you to understand of letting go is never a rush, but it is definitely a reset. See, boundaries are needed and necessary in life because if you don't have them, you can't really function in different relationships, be it friendships that you want to hold on to, relationships with family that you actually enjoy being a part of. Well, relationships with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whomever you have relationships with, it could be a work friend, it could be whatever, but there always has to be boundaries. Say that with me. Boundaries. See, boundaries are those things that keep you safe and keep others around you safe. But there are those times where we could create a boundary that may or may not be as healthy as we would want it to be. So today, we're about to talk about something that I can actually attest that it was hard to do. But I want to talk about letting go. But more than just that, we're talking today about how to let go without shutting down. Because a lot of people think that letting go means you stop caring. You might think, well, if I don't care, I don't get hurt. Or if I pull back enough, I'll finally feel free. But let me say this very clearly as your coach, of course. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It just means you stop carrying what isn't yours. I want to say that again, that letting go doesn't mean you stop caring for someone, somebody, something. It just means you stop carrying what is not yours. There's a big difference. There's a huge difference in caring and carrying something. So let me share with you something that is pretty personal to me. There was a time in my life where I was in a relationship and I was doing way more than my part. And I didn't see it at first, but I wasn't just listening. I was taking on their pain. Wasn't just supporting. I was holding everything together, trying to keep everything just right and fit. There was a lot of self-hate on their side and very little communication. And then somehow I made it my job to manage all of that. And then believe it or not, those type of things take a toll on you. I was tired all the time. My body felt heavy. My mind never really rested. I'm always trying to fix something. I'm always Mr. Fix It. And then something happened to me. The more I tried to help was the more I became the problem. I became their problem. The more I put forth an effort, the more I cared, the more resistance I felt. And then actually, or eventually, I went quiet. Now listen to this part very carefully because this silence wasn't me being cold. It wasn't indifference, but it was exhaustion. And there's a difference between detachment and shut down. And let me explain it. I've shut down before. And when you shut down, you stop feeling. You miss moments with people that you love. You're there, but you're not really truly there because I'm shutting down now, right? And I've done that. And I regret parts of that. You act like, well, I'm a cut it off, but you cut off more than what you actually wanted to cut off with somebody. Sometimes it could be your child, and I've had my own children do some things and I had to make some boundaries. And when making the boundaries, sometimes you get to a place where cut it off. You don't want to do that all the time because creating that boundary isn't something where you stop caring. You don't want to stop caring, but you want to stop carrying things that don't belong to you. Some of those things that have happened, I totally regret. I can't get my words together. But let me show you the difference between detachment. So detachment says, I still care, but I won't carry this anymore. See, that lesson showed up again later in my life where I had a lifelong friend who was a homie, my boy. And we worked together. We did a lot of things together. We had a lot of history together. We had a love for the things that we had love for. But there was a time we reconnected and I could see it clearly that I'd grown. And you see that sometime in your life that you've not that you moved on, but just that place where you at, where you thought a friend was, they're not there. And they had grown, and I can tell that he hadn't yet. It would be every time I try to pull him forward, or ask deep questions, bring him into spaces where he really wasn't ready for, I wasn't helping either one of us. So I stopped. I stopped managing his emotions. I stopped jumping into his problems. I stopped feeling responsible for his outcomes. And when the hard conversation came, I told the truth, but calmly. And first, I felt very guilty, but that's normal. And then clarity showed up because letting go didn't make me cold. It made me honest. So here's the truth. In this particular situation, I kind of learned the hard way that letting go doesn't mean you stop caring once again. It just simply means you stop carrying what doesn't belong to you. You can still love people. You just don't have to rescue them. You don't manage emotions that aren't yours. You don't save people who haven't asked you for their help to be saved. Sometimes that's the most loving thing that you can do is to mind your own damn business. So detachment versus avoidance is pretty simple. Healthy detachment just says, I can care without controlling. Healthy detachment says, I can love without fixing the problem. Or healthy detachment says, I can be present without being responsible. So avoidance says, I'm done feeling. I'm shutting down now. I don't want to be touched by this anymore. Avoidance numbs you, and detachment clears you. One brings peace, the other one just hides pain. Because letting go without hardening is not that tough, because letting go doesn't mean you harden your heart. It just means you loosen your grip. You stop managing other people's feelings. You stop replaying conversations in your head. Stop trying to carry responsibilities that never belong to you. Instead, you stay open. You just stop being tangled up. And that's real strength. See, compassion, it comes with boundaries. Once again, compassion comes with boundaries. And here's another coaching truth, and that is compassion without boundaries lead to burnout. And boundaries without compassion turns into walls. So we're aiming for balance. It's easy or not so easy, but you can care without chasing. You can love without losing peace. You can show up without abandoning yourself. Letting go isn't always cold. Letting go is clear. So for a moment, I want you to pause. Let me ask you a question, and don't rush to an answer. What are you still carrying that isn't yours? Not what you feel, not what you're feeling, but what you're managing. You can pause if you need to pause this episode, because I want you to understand that awareness is always going to be the work. What you're aware of when you're looking at that man in the mirror, or like Michael Jackson say, asking him to change his way, awareness is always going to be the work. So this week, I need you to try something for me. I want you to ask yourself a question when you feel yourself tightening up, or when you see yourself trying to fix something or explain something or control something or even prove something. Pause and ask yourself a question. Is this mine to carry or just mine to feel? Then I need you to make a choice to release over resistance. That's how peace is practiced. And I told you last week, and I meant it for the year 2026, I want to help you bring you into your peace. All right? So, if you're ready, let's close this thing together. So echo me, if you will. I can care without carrying. Say it again. I can care without carrying. One more time, just for those in the back. I can care without carrying. I want you to know that we do these affirmations so that we can continue to remind ourselves. It's kind of like a reprogramming. You have a computer that's one thing, and the thing about it is sometimes you need to reboot that computer or do something to get another program into that computer. And I need for us to sometimes change the program. I can care without carrying. One more before we go. Echo me, if you will. I release what isn't mine. Say it again. I release what isn't mine. One last time, and we'll move forward. I release what is not mine. Beloved, I want you to understand that you are powerful, you are strong, and you can do this. You don't have to shut down to be free. You just need to learn how to let it go wisely and keep growing, keep healing, keep choosing yourself. Until next time, this is Coach Dave, or just Dave Shelton. I don't know why I keep saying the coach when we let the coach go. Help me. This is the True to Success podcast. And remember, the work doesn't have to stop. I want you guys to remember to like, subscribe, and visit our website, www.truetomysoul.com. Continue to do the work. I'll see you soon, fam. And with that, I say unto you all, namaste.
As we close today's session, I want you to remember this. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens in moments like this, when you slow down, reflect, and choose yourself with intention. If today's episode gave you clarity, perspective, or something to sit with, I invite you to continue the work with us. Visit www.truetomysoul.com. That's truetomysoul.com, where you'll find deeper reflections, tools, and resources designed to support your growth beyond the podcast. If you have questions, thoughts, or want to connect directly, you can email us at info@truetomysoul.com. And if this space has been helpful to you, make sure to subscribe to the True to Success podcast so you don't miss future sessions. Each episode is designed to meet you right where you are, with honest conversation, grounded coaching, and reminders that you're not behind, you're becoming. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, stay grounded, stay honest, and keep doing the quiet work that leads to real success. We'll see you soon on the True to Success podcast with Dave Shelton.